Hello and welcome to another episode of the ScreenShot, the show where we have raw and unfiltered conversations about issues that we face as young people of Zimbabwe. And today we want to talk about freedom of speech and responsible engagement online. So there's kind of like a blurred line between freedom of speech and hate speech, and we would like to address that topic in depth today. And joining me for this conversation is Sibongile and Nicole. Sibongile, wena. You get to tell us more about yourself because this is a very special episode for you.
Yes, it is.
Yes, so over to you, miss.
Okay. So my name is Sibongile, as Melinda has already said. I am part of the Site Youth Network, and I am also producing the show today. Please.
We need drum rolls or
drum
something.
Roll, please. Yeah, so and I'm also a student, but above all, I'm also a very active young person on social media. Yeah.
Hence why we have you today.
Yes, and this is why I chose this topic for today.
Introduce our guests as well.
Okay, guys. So this is Nicole. Nicole is a very active person on social media. You see those people in the comment sections
fighting for their life.
This is her. She's always ready to shoot, and she's also a self-employed young person. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Hi guys.
So there's nothing more you want to add, Nicole?
No.
So she did a perfect introduction. So guys, today in Jobasa Sikhulumile, but I'll just repeat it again. We want to talk about freedom of speech and responsible engagement, because I think these days we kind of now take it a bit too far, or we lack the understanding of knowing where to draw the line between freedom of speech and hate speech, and like the ultimate consequences that may come with overstepping those lines. And so, when I understanding yako, what is freedom of speech?
Okay, so for me, freedom of speech it's everybody's right to say whatever you want to say. But in as much as you're going to say whatever you want to say about a certain topic, a certain issue, especially things that affect us as the youth, there are decisions that are made that affect us as the youth. So we should be able to say whether we like those decisions or not, so that they can be fixed, if they can be fixed. And also, we need to, in as much as we believe in freedom of speech, right, you need to be responsible while at it. Okay, fine, I'm going to say I didn't like what Nicole said. It's my right to say, whatever I'm supposed to say. But I shouldn't do it in a way where I'm now stepping on her toes, and I'm overstepping that threshold that you were talking about.
Yeah, especially now when it comes to certain things, when you don't agree with someone, people tend to now say derogatory terms about you. So, So, but I think you've now mentioned everything I wanted to say. In terms of, no, not the whole episode, but in terms of maybe the importance of freedom of speech, being able to say what you want to say and not feel held back and afraid. Fear is something that has been a factor in people not being able to express themselves. And
that's very true.
So, Nikki. Njani, Nikki. Why do you think freedom of speech is important?
I think it's important because it allows people to express how they feel about something, in which it's easy for people to have meaningful conversations if...
That is for sure.
If
people are really talking about exactly what they mean. Debate and public speaking, people don't hold back when it comes to that.
We don't.
We can have these conversations on and maybe society when people are not afraid to say whatever it is that they want to say. Or you guys disagree?
Well, not that I disagree per se, right?
You can disagree.
But
freedom of speech, fella.
But the thing is, society can be better, but I feel like if we're talking about things that happen online, when you decide to use your freedom of speech online
as digital citizens,
you really don't want to go there. You really, people are so ready to attack and shoot. Even if what you're saying is right, sometimes they just want to disagree with you for the sake of argument's sake, So, society can be better, but people really need to be careful with what they say on the social media platforms at times.
But don't you think that's just human nature? Uguti, we like going the extra mile. Like, let's say Uguti says, I don't know what happens with us human beings.
No, the problem, people think that they have rights to say whatever online. Some of the things that they say online, they don't say them offline.
Of course, like
never.
There's a thing that what you say online, you should be able to stand up for it face to face. This without typing.
Someone actually said something today on our way here. Like, they made an example of saying, if I block a person on WhatsApp, on Facebook, or on Instagram, and then I bump into that person, like when I'm in town or something like that, I can't block them in person in as much as I block them on Facebook as well, So people actually forget that we live in a real world. They're so trapped in social media that they're like, okay, Instagram, Facebook, I can say whatever I want to say to spoil
actually forget that they're like real people behind those posts,
And if you were to say, okay, this is what you say to me online, say it to my face, they don't have the guts to do that, because they know that they can hide behind ghost accounts and people who will be supporting them online as well.
So guys, are you saying that there should be certain limitations to freedom of speech?
Yes, there should be certain limitations. I like the features that are on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, whereby if you use certain words, they literally, they remove your post. They say it goes against community guidelines. But then again, I think that's only for English. When it comes to I'm telling you, if I am to use a bad word in Ndebele and I post it on TikTok,
you don't get flagged.
We don't get flagged, So in as much as, people should limit what they say online,
But that's literally going against freedom of speech,
okay, let me say this.
I agree with the point people turned to cross the line. But when we say people are now being flagged and stuff for saying what they're saying, it goes against what saying people have freedom of speech.
No, you have freedom of speech, but my freedom of speech shouldn't result in Melinda feeling some type of way. I shouldn't offend you.
Okay.
Like, I shouldn't make you feel something. I shouldn't harass you. That's why we then have terms like cyberbullying.
Exactly.
Because my freedom of speech, okay, fine, I see this girl dressed in a certain type of way. She posted her picture on Instagram, and then now I start talking about her body, or I start talking about how her clothes look. Like, of course, your freedom of speech, yummy, but it shouldn't then infringe on another person's rights.
That's what I wanted us to talk about. It ultimately becomes hate speech and stuff like that. What do you think, Nicole? Do you think Spo is right? Is it?
Yeah, she's right. She's right. But now the problem is that we all don't think like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we are human beings. It will actually be boring if we all thought the same way.
Yes, but now people find joy, especially on social media. They find so much joy when they see one is being bullied, So you find the comment section is actually cheering up whoever is bullying the other. So it makes it so difficult for one to say, stop, it's not right, because there's a larger crowd, supporting
sometimes,
whatever the other person is saying.
It's like the recent nudes that leaked, and there's literally a certain number of people who are for the bashing of that young girl, who really are saying, Guti, this is her fault, Guti, this is happening, or whatever. But I feel like you don't even have to express your like as in getting down, obviously.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it was now put on a social media platform, all of them or whatever, and people are going to say, obviously, it's on social media, this is my data and what. And the majority of people are for her being bashed, she's being body shamed, her private parts are being talked about. And stuff, and she's still young. So I think when you talk about illimitation, unfortunately, we still have to be limited to lokuzenin to certain things, because we can't adhere to just being civil towards each other.
We can't govern ourselves. Like, we literally have no discipline on social media.
At some point, people are literally fighting her buckle. Buckles gamma Mikey.
Through
the kid. So you realize with the larger crowd, it's grown people, mothers for that, you understand.
I
I mean,
wonder
some of
what
these mothers have
attacking a
girl
young-
children. I mean, if I am a mother right now and your daughter has pictures out there like that, it should actually hurt me in a way.
Not for you to attack her.
Yeah,
I should be trying to
You know,
protect
I'm-
her.
Put myself in her shoes. What if it was my daughter going through all that? But people don't see it like that. Just because they have a personal whatever
Vendetta,
with the mother, they see it fits. They should attack.
I
both
think
her
we're
and the
fighting
mother.
the wrong battles as a country. This is not what we should be freedom of speech in.
Yes.
I mean,
And,
you know,
Uneng Gaia that we go through, that we really should be up in arms about, like being keyboard warriors, and
Yes.
but we choose to fight such. I get
because,
that.
you know, later on in her life, right, even if she wants to advocate for something that is real and just cause, those things are going to be brought up again. Like, you remember in 2024, your
The internet never what?
The internet never forgets. That's the problem.
You search it up, you know, you find it. You like whoever's nudes, they show up like that the same way.
Another thing that I want us to talk about, which is in relation with consequences that come and the power of social media and the freedom of speech that we're talking about, is a case of Utanaka, the NAST student who posted some tribal things on X. I keep calling it Twitter to this day.
Me too.
I'll be flagged. I'm misgendering it on X, and he said he posted stuff that I won't repeat, but it was very tribal, and then someone who, I don't know who exactly, but one reporter, and he got arrested over the Easter holidays. And obviously there are two, like a line was drawn past, and there are two sides of people fighting against each other, and bekhuluma ukuthi this is right, this is wrong. Some people are saying it was over exaggerated, ukuthi he ended up being in jail. Now if you Google him, things like tribalist come up, and so that's one of the consequences I want us to talk about. So when it comes to Utanaka, what do you guys really think? Do you think he was warranted to say what he wanted to say? Because he's not the only one.
Yeah.
And
Going back, people have normalized things that shouldn't be normalized. The fact that this has been done before
But
and
yet
people
in
never
court.
reported it. You understand? Now
Yeah.
that finally it's reported like that, it's a big issue because, I mean, it has been done before, but it has never gotten to such. But now that it's done and it has gotten to such, people think it's wrong, but it's not wrong.
But I feel like we're now awake to the thing.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to say Guti, definitely Tanaka was wrong, but he's not the only person between Amashona and Amandebele. They go back and forth within insults and stuff. Even the Ndebeles, they insult the Shonas, and we should also know Guti that there's consequences to that.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he became like the sacrificial lamb.
So unfortunately, you have to carry his cross.
So
Carry the cross.
does that then mean that everyone who has posted tribal things online should be arrested the same way that he was, you know? Since, like, I mean, he's not the first person. We all said he's not the first person.
But
So I feel like if they chose to persecute him like this, then they should go back. Let's sweep X, let's sweep social media and arrest everyone. If this is the route that they've chosen to take.
This is literally what everyone on X was saying, because they came screenshots of certain people like saying bad things about the Shona culture, and they were like, "What about this person?" And
what are we gonna do to them?
and people were commenting and saying, "Guti, report him." Like, if you can report umuntu vele,
He is literally a first time for everything.
That's something I say about the social media.
and it's okay.
Him being used as an example, it's a good thing. You know, people now know we are not supposed to say this and that
Exactly.
on social media. You know, fortunate for the ones that say whatever they said in the past. Fortunate for them, they were arrested.
Maybe
But
they are coming for
unfortunately
them. Who knows?
I hope they are. I hope they are.
Because another post was from 2018. Imagine you've probably even forgotten that you
made
ever
that,
mentioned something tribal. Imagine hearing language. Hey, my sister, you
Under arrest because of something you said in 2015.
As card. So, I mean, I really do think unfortunately, Utanaka had to be the one to carry the burden. No, not unfortunately. I mean, someone had to do it.
Yeah,
maybe
at some
when
point.
the first person stole something, maybe hi, it's, you know what, this has gone on long enough. And then after that, it was like an effect. Who knows?
Actually,
when you do those things started from back generations and generations. It's not with us, the 2K generation. It's not a good thing.
We literally want to have an episode on tribalism. I really do want us to have an episode on tribalism and really like dive deep as young people and like what is it that is still holding us to izinto zona ezenzakala kudala influence lokho siyithi and we're not moving forward and we have bigger problems, like I said.
We do. We can't be fighting this, like it's not worth fighting over. We can just talk about it. And I actually do sympathize with Tanaka a lot because
you can sympathize with him.
No, I'm afraid
Freedom of
I'm afraid.
Okay, why do you sympathize with him?
Because as we said, he's not the first one. Like, why does he have to be the sacrificial lamb?
Someone had to go down.
Well, is it necessary? I just feel like people are blowing things out of proportion. Like you said, some people are saying it was exaggerated. It was. For sure it was, because he's not the first one. So what's so special about him? You'll find that, okay, you'll find that maybe the person who actually reported, they have a personal vendetta against each other.
Okay.
And now this thing has escalated. But if I were to say it, I'm sure nobody, I'm not saying nobody would.
If you were to say the same thing that
it wouldn't have the same impact. But maybe because he has made enemies in the wrong places, or the people who have, the person who reported has a personal vendetta against that person, then it has resulted in this. But in all honesty, I feel like it was exaggerated. It was not necessary. Maybe he could have been reprimanded. It could have been dealt with by the university, INAST, right? It didn't have to go to an extent. He spent Easter in jail. He could have been reprimanded and maybe suspended or something. But jail time, that's a bit too much.
I feel like there's always like two sides to a story. Most probably it wasn't his first time. Some of those things, he did them physically. So I feel like maybe someone was like, it's about time. So like we should go down for all the things that he has done. You know. So I feel like we should hear what the other students say about it before we like conclude the whole thing.
Okay.
Well, my thing is, I think the right thing was done.
Yeah.
I think the right thing was done. Because, unfortunately, these things will keep reoccurring. You know, Kota, if you get a slap on the wrist, you're likely to do something again. So sometimes it has to be harsh. Tanaka came into a city of predominantly like Ndebele people and went to their school. And then saying these things like you know.
Yeah.
So and then he said these things that obviously offended people, and like you're likely to be offended when you hear that you don't use your brain, you don't strain your brain enough, you know. And it's like Okombolozele, an entire tribe of people, and that is literally why people were angry.
Yeah.
And I also feel like if I was to go to Angwas like, hey, use it, and start talking about Shona people and stereotypical things that I hear all the time, man. I should be able to, I should be able to like take my consequences. Obviously, people are going to be angry. I can't go to a space and insult people who stay there and expect them to applaud me. Yeah. Now what can you and he probably hasn't even said that much. People have said worse about like Ndebele people, but he so let's talk about such consequences of engaging in hate speech and stuff like that on social media.
Well, I really don't think that necessary measures are taken against people who initiate hate speech, especially the one layer thing. The example I gave earlier on about maybe body shaming someone, name calling. I think those things are very necessary. Certain measures that are taken against that person, because those kind of things affect umuntu mentally, emotionally. It takes a toll on a person. You know, it's self-esteem umuntu being a seko because of what you would have said on social media, on a public platform. I'll say this again. It's on a public platform. You know, it's like uhambile usetown uchayisa lo mzali wakho ugqoka ongamelanga ukugqoka ukwazi lokho amelanga ukugqoka bekudonse besithatha endlini in front of everyone. Imagine you're by HNS day and they start doing that to you. So it's the same thing. I feel like kumele kube lama necessary measures that are taken against those people, because it's really affecting people a lot.
It is.
What about when we talk about consequences? Imagine job hunting ngelinye ilanga. Udinga umsebenzi laphana. You've got a nice resume, you know, sparkling, in recommendations, and then they do a background check or your digital footprint. Kutholakale usibongile utshone busy wena isidudla umubi.
Exactly.
So things like that, I don't think we realize ukuthi
you
still have a future. We tend to live for the now a lot. Ukuthi kusasa ke we don't really think about that.
Do what makes you happy.
But what makes you happy is sometimes sick phela.
It's always like that. You find yourself paying for it later on in life, you know.
So from there, Nest 8 apana.
And they're like,
visa is denied. So is that what you think about people? So Angwazi guys, let's talk about Ugulokuza in when we round off and let's talk about if you could say something to someone who's engaging in hate speech, what would you tell them?
Seek
therapy.
You know, there's a lot that I feel sometimes when I'm going through the comment section and I see those people who are just saying, who are making like hate comments that are very unnecessary. Sometimes I'll even be looking for what you're talking about and I can't see it. I'm just saying that this person, you've got issues. Like, I think it all goes back to how you were raised, your background, your self-esteem. You'll find that most of the people who post such things online are people who don't have a self-esteem. Their backgrounds are just them. Oh, uzathothi ngumuntu silosuke endaweni right and but yena nje as a person they're sick. I don't want to lie, they're just sick. I think people should seek therapy. I'm joking. But talk to someone. Do something. You can't just go online and start attacking people.
And hating.
And hating for what? There's no reason for you to be hating. I think the person that people should start doing self-scrutiny. Because you find that the things that you're saying to another person, it's actually what you are like, not that other person. You are reflecting yourself. You're seeing a reflection of yourself on that person. So you need to fix yourself instead of trying to go around fixing other people. Like, we've got bigger problems, you know.
We really do.
We have bigger problems.
I think we need an episode on this problem. We've got so many problems.
We've got bigger problems than for me to be going around social media saying, you know, I have this thing whereby if I see someone making hate speech online, I report your account. I want you to be off social media.
Not all heroes wear capes.
I block it. I report your social media account. If I see any funny things, I'll report it. You will not stress me on a public platform.
What about you, Nicole? What would you say to, Hailey Bieber once said something. She's like, when I see people hating on me and stuff and I click on their profile, I go and it's like, Mama for Ephesians, what someone. And you're just so shocked. Like, the words that they will be saying there, okay, I can't really say konapa, but devoted to God. And you're now so confused.
This woman on Facebook, she's a minister of some sort. It has to do with like church things, right? With the recent news that just leaked of the young girl, she posted something about that girl's nudes, but in a very negative way. If I am that child reading that, it would literally affect me so bad. Now the comment section was attacking it. Okay, you are out here acting as if you're a minister preaching the word of God to people, but what you're posting and what and she was like, no, I was just testing your brains. People like, you're not testing our brains, you literally just show who you are, your true colors. At first she was replying to a point where she literally just deleted the post like that. She knew it was wrong before she posted it.
I think people forget that we're all human beings. We make mistakes. True. I don't think it was intentional for her, for those naked pictures to come out or anything like that. And you forget that you're going to be a parent one day, impilo liviri, you know, these things happen all the time, you know. People make mistakes, and for us to be there just shaming her, like,
besides being a parent later on, right? Do you remember the conversation we had behind the scenes before we started shooting?
We said a lot. What did we say?
We were like, okay, fine, you know, I'm not gonna judge her for the nudes that leaked, because every dog has its day. Not that I have, but I'm just saying that everybody. It's just that the problem with her is that her mother is a socialite,
a public figure.
Yeah, she's in the public eye. So, but I have people I know that have had their nudes leaked, but they didn't go as viral because you know, people didn't know them. So, but because she's on a public platform, like she's a socialite and stuff like that. Her mother is a socialite, so that's the reason why, you know. So
it went viral.
Yeah, but
because it was trending on
I'm sure
X.
Everybody has something that if it were to come out right now, it would not end well.
Because it was trending to a point where we forgot that a new currency was inflicted on us. We forgot that we had a new currency.
You see how we worry about the wrong things. Yeah. We start concentrating on the wrong things.
We should have been talking about the fact that you can't buy fuel, you can't buy a passport with that currency. Yeah. Those are stuff that we should be talking about.
We should have an episode on that. Because what?
Anyway, guys, any last words? What are our key takeaways from our conversation today?
Okay, so from me, I just need everybody to, when you're online, just think about the other person. Think about the other person on the side, on the receiving end of whatever you be saying, you know. We are all human beings at the end of the day, and whatever you say will surely affect me. Think about a situation whereby if I were to say the same thing to you, how would you take it? How would it make you feel? If you're a parent, if something like that were to happen to your own child, how would you feel? Wouldn't you want to protect your child? You would. So take a moment before you start saying things, commenting on people's posts, hating on people. Take a moment to just think about the effects, the impact of what you're going to say and how it will affect that person. Do you really want a situation whereby I say Sibongile committed suicide because of something that Nicole said under her post? Because it is very much possible and it has happened in the past. Can we use social media as a tool to spread positivity, you know, and build each other? Let's support each other. We have bigger things to be worrying about other than just hating on each other. There are people who will be producing music. Their friends don't even support, but they'll be hating. Build each other, like build yourselves. Don't hate, you know, spread love.
Especially in our city.
Yeah, let's not even go there.
Any last words, Nick?
Let's create a safe space on social media, not only for us but for the younger generation that's coming after us. You know.
Okay, I mean, what I want to say is I believe in freedom of speech, right? But like we all agreed, sometimes it's only so barely limit which defeats the purpose. But hey, we just don't learn. The problem is we don't learn. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this episode. Oh my God, thank you guys for coming.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you guys for watching this episode and tuning in. Please leave your comments on what you thought about the episode or anything that you want us to talk about in the future, or someone that you might think might want to come on the show and discuss certain things. And so, bye.